Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast. We're doing our first podcast. We're going to talk about a different couple subjects. I'm Zach. I'm here with a couple of friends of mine, Christian and Derek. You guys want to say hi?
Hello.
Hi.
We are going to talk about a couple of different things, like a couple of different gaming topics, while we're playing this game here, Rocket League. First thing we'd like to talk about with you guys is, well, Christian, do you wanna take that away?
The first topic is our game of the year so far, since it's already been like half the year's over, and we've played a decent amount. And so just which ones are our favorite?
Well, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go for it.
No, you go. I gotta think about how I gotta word it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, so far, considering I played some out stuff that I've gone back and played again, I would probably have to say, I know. I don't know. This is a tough one for me because there are a couple at the top with my games. I have the one that currently came out for PS4 this month was Rocket League. Great game, a lot of fun with it. We definitely put a lot of hours in working on my platinum trophy currently as we speak. That game was amazing. I enjoyed it the day it dropped. Went and picked that up on PlayStation Plus.
Already got the platinum trophy.
Enjoyed Final Fantasy's Final Fantasy 14 Realm Reborn. Played the crap out of that, and Bloodborne, a little bit of Life is Strange. If I had to pick my favorite, I'd probably have to give it just because Life is Strange isn't finished yet, and I want to know how it finishes. It might change by the end of the year. So far, it's been Final Fantasy. I've enjoyed the crap out of that game.
Yeah.
Want to get that DLC, I haven't had the money for it. It'll eventually happen. But yeah, so we'll move it on to you, Derek. What is your top game so far?
Well, considering like my circumstances, I really haven't had a lot of like opportunities to play a lot of games lately. Like, the newest stuff I've played basically this year would have to be is Batman and Dragon Ball, but that came out last year, so...
Did you play The Witcher?
Sure. Oh, yeah, The Witcher was a big one for me. I really like The Witcher, and I like the way it was... I like it... The size of it's really nice, like... I like the choices, like, even though the armor looks a bit weird, like, I don't like some of the customization, but besides that, it's a really solid game. So, yeah.
Christian, we'll take it over to you.
My I guess favorite games that I've played so far this year, I'll have to say is probably Batman, Rocket League. I've played a lot. I think an overall fun factor, I'd have to give it to Rocket League because it's
it's a really nice team game.
You can casually play Rocket League, and you can like competitively play Rocket League if you just want to hardcore play it. I would have given it to Batman, but some of the story elements in it were kind of predictable, so that kind of threw me off of it. And this game came out of nowhere. I had no clue what it was until like the day it came out.
Hmm.
And so I'd
My
have
whole,
to
my
I'd
whole
have to
thing
give it to
with,
Rocket League.
yeah, my whole thing with Batman was the Batmobile. I didn't like how it was forced into the game so much. Like, I don't like using that word, but it felt, well, for me at least, I felt like there was a lot of the game that made you use the freaking Batmobile. I didn't like having to use the Batmobile the whole time. I mean, it was cool, yeah, but it felt like it had like its own kind of like character to it. It wasn't just like a Batmobile. And I mean, I guess in some standpoints that's better, but for me, I didn't like the way that they kind of forced it upon everything. Like most of the side challenges required you to do the whole Batmobile thing too, which was another thing that I didn't like. I mean, the Batmobile was cool, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but it was just an over obsessive amount of Batmobile that I didn't like from the game.
I like the Batmobile more than most people. Like, when most
I mean,
people, like, when they started to play the game, they're like, I really don't like the Batmobile. I don't have many things wrong with the Batmobile, but like, you don't have any more regular boss battles like you did in the previous games with Mr. Freeze or like the Joker in the first Arkham Asylum.
Yeah,
And
which is
so
completely true.
And so, like, I enjoy the whole gameplay aspect of having the Batmobile and being able to use it, and then the AR challenges with the Batmobile. I played them over and over and over and over again.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they could have, they could have had it. They could have fixed it. Like, they could have just not had it as much.
Yeah, I totally see what you mean.
because like, I mean, for all the people who have played the game and beaten the campaign, I want to say at least 40% of the game was you in the Batmobile. From the
Well,
campaign standpoint, at least.
like, I really liked it. I liked the combat sequences and stuff, but like, again, with like side missions, like, I don't want to spoil the game, but there's a certain villain you have to fight, and you really want it to be like an actual combat scenario, but instead you have to use the Batmobile in a tank battle, so,
Yeah,
but
that was
yeah.
probably one of my least favorite parts, was having to use that, having an entire boss battle based around the Batmobile. Like, I mean, yeah, it was cool. I mean, for the point of time, it was worth it, but then you kind of took away the essence of Batman and getting to beat the shit out of people. Like, that
Eh,
was what I loved the most about the other games.
And I
And I
think,
mean, they
like,
did upgrade it a lot. I
yeah,
loved the way the combat worked in that game. They had the whole tag team stuff. You could switch it between characters. That was amazing.
with the
yeah.
Batmobile, I definitely think there should be boss battles with it because there's not a way you can't have a boss battle without the
Well,
Batmobile.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the fact that the majority, if not all of the boss battles are with the Batmobile,
Hmm.
kind of just throws you off and makes you not like it as much. But I gotta say, like with the Batman itself, there's content coming out like every week or so for like the 6 months after the game comes out, and so far the DLCs, yes, they've been short, but it adds another like character to the game that you can
Yeah.
play as.
Yeah, and I haven't been able to play the new Batwoman one, which looks really awesome.
That
It's
that one that
Batgirl.
one's probably the longest one. It's
it's
supposed to
significantly longer than Under the Red Hood and
it's
Harley Quinn.
it's short, but it's not like
It's
as short
still,
as the other ones. And I mean, still,
yeah,
just because it's short doesn't mean it's necessarily bad, and we don't know what's else is coming out, so there could be even more
yeah.
DLCs just like that one that might be longer. And then I guess
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
if we're done with this topic, we can move on to our most anticipated game. as of right now.
Let's see. Most anticipated game. There are a couple. I can't just pick one.
That's
I mean,
fine.
that's gonna be stated from the very beginning for at least two of us. But mine, I've got a couple, and I know one of them is the Uncharted series coming to PlayStation 4. I can't wait. I want it so bad. I loved them on PS3. I can't wait to relive and play through all of Nathan Drake's story right before, you know, Uncharted 4 comes out too, because that comes out next year in March. I can't wait for that either. There's just a whole bunch of games coming out. I know Tom Clancy just released in the Ubisoft E3 press conference. There's a game that I want from there with Tom Clancy's Wildlands future. It was Ghost Recon. Yeah. Ghost Recon. That's like most of Tom Clancy games are one. I don't know how I feel about the new Rainbow Six. It's for me.
I'm really excited.
I haven't played it myself. Well, I mean, I know a lot of people are, and I was excited for it until I saw all the gameplay for it. And I know they're doing a whole new thing and bringing in all of the new, you know, modern stuff or whatever. But their whole focus on trying to bring it to esports is making the game for me look a lot worse than it. I don't want to say worse. The game looks great. It doesn't look like a Rainbow Six to me.
They haven't
I feel like it's
shown
more
off
of a
enough.
Counter-Strike. Yeah, and from what I've seen from gameplay from whenever they were streaming it from the alpha, whenever they allowed that to be streamed, I went and watched a good hour and a half of it, and all I saw was stuff that just looked like it was out of Counter-Strike, but instead of having the ability to, but instead of just running around, you were just kind of like, you were able to get up and then lean up against the wall. I mean, that was it. They took out, it just, I don't know. For me, I was kind of wishing for another Rainbow Six Vegas, and that was why I was disappointed. But I mean, that's just from a fanboy standpoint. For me, Until Dawn looks good. I heard about that game last year. The whole teen survival story, whatever. It looked really cool. I heard about it at the E3 last year and went and looked up a bunch of videos for it. It's a super immersive game and like a whole bunch of different outcomes. It just looks really cool. I can't wait for that one either. I haven't looked in too much on it though, but I did notice that they finally put a release date on the store for the same day that Madden comes out, which is the 24th to the 25th of the next month.
Can't wait.
So, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be great. Hopefully, I can get it the night it drops.
There are actually 3 different games coming out. It's the remastered Dishonored's also coming out alongside Until Dawn and Madden. So there are a few games that I'm gonna have to play.
Nice.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Until Dawn does look good. However, I am very awful when it comes to
horror games.
Can't wait to make you play it.
Yeah, that will be up on the stream somewhere.
Somewhere. I'll let you play it eventually.
Probably stream that one myself.
I know my my anticipated games are mainly for PlayStation, but there is one game that I have been looking forward to.
What would that be?
For a little while now, and can't remember the name of it. What was it? What was it?
Why don't you give a description?
Oh wait, no, dude. The game is already out, okay? This game has been out before, but it finally came to PlayStation this Tuesday. Would be the Pigeon Dating Simulator. Can't wait.
Okay.
Can't wait to go and play that one. I don't know why.
You've been dogged by many acquaintances to download and play this game.
Eventually I will, and I will stream every single bit of it.
We'll be right alongside with you, buddy.
It'll be a thing. It'll happen. We're gonna go and play The pigeon dating simulator. Why
You
is
don't
it a
even
thing?
know what it's called.
I don't care. It's not. It shouldn't. It's.
It shouldn't
Here,
exist.
look. I will tell you the name of this game.
It's
Just give
Hatoful
me
Boyfriend.
Yeah, that. It's a thing.
Personally, like with Until Dawn, it looks like the story won't be like too great. It won't be like on the scale of The Last of Us, because you know that's not possible. But it definitely like looks interesting because there's Heavy Rain. There's gonna be a lot of different ways for it to end, and a lot of different elements to change up the story.
Yeah.
But personally, that one's not on my like most anticipated list. I will probably end up getting it, and I will probably play like all of it as much as possible. But as of right now, I think my most anticipated games, one of them has to be Uncharted 4, because
Yeah.
like with an overall gameplay experience of the other ones, like Uncharted 2 is probably in my top 5 games of all time.
Yeah,
And
I
so
haven't really gotten a chance to play the Uncharted series because I've always been on Xbox, but I really want to. This is my chance to be
yeah,
able to
and
play all that.
that's when the collection comes in, and so like I'll be getting that. I'm not gonna put it on my most anticipated list because like I've already played them before. But Uncharted 4 is up there. Call of Duty, because you know I'm a fanboy, and it looks more different than the other ones have.
I really
And
hope that it.
Black Ops 2 was probably my favorite, and it's made by the same people.
I can't wait to see how they're gonna do zombies this time around. I've been a fan of zombies forever. I can't say that I enjoyed Advanced Warfare Zombies. I mean, it was decent, I guess, but it wasn't really what I was expecting. With the whole exo suit and stuff, I feel like it was like it's too like vertical, like same as the multiplayer.
And then I guess I don't know how I feel because I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but Battlefront looks pretty good.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And then
I cannot wait.
Fallout 4. I've never been a huge Fallout fan. Like those giant like RPGs, I haven't played a lot of them. They haven't captured like me, I guess. But Fallout 4 looks really interesting.
Yeah, that was a really good. I played Fallout 3 a lot. I never get to play New Vegas, but I liked Fallout 3.
But my most anticipated game, number one, is No Man's Sky.
Yes, I am really excited for that one. I'm excited that I don't ever have to deal with people if I can get far enough away from people.
It looks big enough and small enough. It looks like a game that I can pick up, play for 20 minutes or 20 hours.
Yes, like
it looks just like there's so many different elements to it. It's super big. Each planet you visit is the size of a planet. So it's an open worlds game, basically. And then there is also, you can like shoot other like people. You might not find a lot of people, but you might find like space pirates. You can shoot those. You can destroy.
and if you're dedicated
You're
enough,
able
you can destroy a whole planet.
You can destroy a whole planet, and then you can also like explore a whole planet. You could spend your entire time on one planet and maybe not even find everything.
Yes.
So that has to be my most anticipated title.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. That's one of my most anticipated also. And also, even though it's coming out in 2016, I really am expecting a lot from The Last Guardian, because it's been in development for a very long time, and I'm really excited to see how they finish it.
Hopefully.
Ico and
hopefully.
Shadow of the Colossus both were games that I personally couldn't play because I just am stupid. But
Ico was a
both of them, I watched many people play them, and I have enjoyed every minute of watching it. The first time I played Shadow of the Colossus was on the PS2, when it was on the PS2, and then again on the PS3 because it was free, and I was able to beat like the first Colossus or whatever, and then I just didn't get around to it to like continue playing it, but I enjoyed those games a lot.
They're really good games.
I enjoyed Shadow of the Colossus a lot more than Ico. Ico was... It was more of... I liked that Shadow of Colossus because it reminded me a lot more of Link from The Legend of Zelda than it really did of anything else. And I'm probably going to get a lot of crap for saying that, but I mean, it really did. The whole aspect of you riding on the horse, and you had like that one sword, and it reminded me a lot of Link's sword. I lost the name of the sword now. I'm totally dropping the ball right here, but we're just making like totally pissed off a whole bunch of fanboys. But but I enjoyed it because it felt just like whenever you fought something, you felt like it was a super hard struggle. Like you'd have like I remember the first one. You'd have to like climb up onto his leg, get up to the very top, and then strike him on his weak point to even damage him. Like it was difficult. And then you got to the one where you had to swim in the water, wait for him to come up, and then grab him, and then climb to the top while he was still swimming around in water. Don't get electrocuted. Dear God, do not get electrocuted. But I mean, like there was just so many different components to that game that made it just what it was, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that game a lot.
Yes.
But I could never get into Ico. I felt like Ico was really story driven, and to me at the time that I played it, I was really just into the action. If I were to go back now, I could probably sit through it and play through it a lot.
I'm sure
more
you could, yeah. Because I really enjoyed both of those games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not bagging on either one. I mean, people have preferences.
Yeah. Just like you don't like the Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, dude, screw Elder Scrolls Online.
But then again, you didn't like Skyrim that much either.
But I gave Skyrim a chance. I gave Elder Scrolls a chance too, and I dropped it. I mean, I got past the tutorial and I just couldn't play it anymore. It just wasn't fun. It didn't even feel like Skyrim, because I enjoyed Skyrim to the point of me not being able to quest anymore. I went and sat there. If I were to sit there and just do nothing but quest the entire time, Skyrim was fun. But the second that I lost my way and didn't realize that I was, not questing anymore, that was the second that the game got boring. Because
you have to have something to do.
I wasn't into the whole, choose your. I mean, I'm cool with the whole choose your own path thing. That's amazing. You have so much to do. There's a lot that Skyrim has to offer. But for me, it was more of I want to just have a set story. Skyrim didn't really have just like a set story. And whenever I tried to go do just the set story, I was too low of a level to go and fight the last boss. So they wouldn't let me go through the portal, and I was like, all right, well then I don't want to play this anymore.
I wasn't aware that you had to be a certain level.
You have to be higher than level 12, because I was only level 12.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
Yeah, you have to be. It was like level 16, I think it was. It's been a while since I played the game, but
I played it just last week.
It was fun while I had it. Another big complaint I have with Elder Scrolls Online was the combat. I hated the combat. It was just so janky and didn't feel smooth at all, or anything like an Elder Scrolls. And I know that's not what it was going for. It was going for an MMO. But for me, coming from Final Fantasy Online to that was just no. I couldn't do it.
I can't even do Elder Scrolls, or not Elder Scrolls, forgive me, Final Fantasy, that's what it is. I tried to play it. I played it over at your place for 5 minutes, and I just couldn't get into it.
For me, Skyrim and like the whole Elder Scrolls series just isn't my type of game. I'm not gonna say I hated them or that I disliked them. It's just, it's not my type of game. I played a decent amount of Skyrim, a decent amount of Oblivion. I haven't played the Elder Scrolls Online. I figure if I ever get that I'll probably play that more than the other ones because I'll have friends to play it with. But
see, that was a lot of the big controversy with Skyrim as well.
Not like with Skyrim and Oblivion, there can get to a point when you have so much to do that you don't know what
that you're just
do.
Overwhelmed.
You have no clue. You can get overwhelmed, or you have no clue where you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
But with like Final
Can't deny the
Fantasy,
game's beauty though.
With Final Fantasy, I enjoyed it. I bought the game, was unaware my free trial had run out, and then I just haven't ever paid for the subscription. I don't want to have to pay for a subscription because there is other games I want to play and I want to be able to afford them.
Yeah.
And I won't be able to do that if I pay for a subscription for an MMO. But I did enjoy Final Fantasy, and I got to a fairly decent level within the amount of time that I played it, and I did enjoy it, which I might pick it up again later if I have the time and the money for it. And so then I guess we can move on to the next topic, which is indie games. And I mean, we'll go through several, like, I guess,
Minecraft
topics within indie games. Like, okay, well, first, what do you think classifies an indie game?
Well, first I'm an indie developer. And
is Journey not an indie game?
Well,
damn.
It was Journey developed by
Sony Santa Monica.
Oh.
It was made by a fairly small team, but it was made by a pretty decent sized like publisher.
Oh well, that is true.
So would you classify Journey as an indie game? Or a AAA game?
Well, it's definitely not a AAA game because it wasn't it wasn't heavily advertised. It was just sort of like put on the market, and people liked it. I like it personally. Like, I think it's a great game. But
see, then
it wasn't.
You have things like I guess an indie game really is just how you take the game in the first place. I mean, the indie games mainly are small teams with not a lot of money. They don't budget them very much, and the people that do, I mean, you get a couple of indie games that are ridiculously backed by Kickstarters, but there aren't a lot of
Rocket
games.
League, for example.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a complete indie game. It's just something, I guess indie games are mainly stuff that kind of comes out of nowhere. It kind of hits you where people, like everyday people who just kind of really wanted to make a game just kind of came around and said, hey, we're not in this
Let's
for the
make a
money. We
game.
just want to make something that people will enjoy, and I feel like that really captures
Something
the essence of
special.
it. So yeah, something special, something that everybody can enjoy together, something that
Like this game is
we
for
want.
the people.
Yeah, it's a game that's for the people, and a lot of the big developers are. I mean, I
They're
don't want to
stra they're
bag on
stra
anybody in
they're
particular.
straying away from it. They have
Yeah,
like, here's DLCs, here is pre-order bonuses, which sure you're getting more content, but then they're like nickel and diming you.
Yeah.
The game is $60. A normal AAA game is $60, and then plus if you want to get DLCs, or they have microtransactions.
that's what
Microtransac
people get you.
Microtransactions, I'm not going to say are necessarily bad, because I have bought some. And The Last of Us, I bought a couple weapons, and
Those are
there's
worth it.
several free-to-play games that bought micro I've bought stuff for, but it's just like when they already have made their money back and they just put the microtransactions in to make more. With like free-to-play games, basically once you release it, you don't make your money back. You will make some because of like the platform you're on, but you make your money back through those microtransactions and, like, I guess advertisements and stuff.
True.
Yeah,
And so I guess for me, what an indie game is, it has to be made by a small team, and I don't know. I don't know if like budget will be put into it, because I don't think
you look at
Journey,
No Man's Sky.
No Man's
No Man's
Sky.
Sky and Journey.
I have
You,
no clue how much No Man's Sky costs. I know the team's small, but I know they have to have a decent amount of money to make that game.
well, I mean, they've been to E3 almost 3 years in a row now.
Journey is again made by a small team within Sony Santa Monica. If I have I know it's part of Sony something. I don't know if it is Santa Monica exactly, but I know it's a small team from there, and I think they had a decent amount of money, but I'm gonna have to say it's a game made without money in mind. They aren't looking to make like a huge profit. Sure, everybody wants to make their money back, but they are making the game for the game. They're making a game that they want to play, and they're not going to necessarily charge too much for it.
Yeah.
That's what I love about indie games. I feel like big time developers are starting to lose the whole sense of story and why people actually really play games. Well, why a lot of people play games currently, because they know some of the bigger marketers, sports games and puzzle games and stuff, which is really surprising with how many games we have that are strictly about war.
True.
And it's like, I know a lot of that comes from, because when they take census, they don't really categorize between different games. A lot of that comes from like Apple or Android games, but you can't. I mean, those are still technically considered games. You have the people that sit there and they take their time and effort to put money into those things too. And to be completely honest, I'd rather play an indie game over a AAA on a lot of different occasions, because indie games just, they get it right.
I feel more captivated by indie games, and I do have my jaw-dropping moments with AAA games like The Last of Us and Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
Far Cry 3 captivated me. Far Cry 3 might have. Far Cry 3 is on one of my favorite games ever, also. But with Rocket League, this is hands down one of my most favorite games ever. It's an indie game with, like, Flower. Sure, I have it, I don't play it a lot, but when I first saw it, I was captivated by it. With this game, I'm captivated by it. With Cube, which I have no clue where that game came from. Never heard of it until like 2 days ago. I was like on the edge of my seat the entire time, just wondering how does this game work? How is it made? What's happening?
Cube, for those of you who don't know, is a puzzle game where you have to move certain shapes to solve a room, basically.
It looks like Portal in a sense. You don't like teleport and shoot portals, but it kind of has that same visual aspect. It's a first-person puzzle kind of game. No Man's Sky is my most anticipated game, and it is a indie title, and so I have to say, like, indie games have, like, I guess, a better place, like, in my heart rather than a AAA game. I would rather get 4 indie games for $60 than one AAA game.
And see, another thing is, I feel like indie games are eventually going to come and take over the market because of a lot of the things that indies come out and they give. I mean, some of the indie games that I've played have put me like in like they just like in the feels. They make me feel. I mean, I don't have the words to describe a lot of them, but it's just they put you into this emotional state. They tell such a great story that you don't want to. I mean, you don't want it to end. And I only know a couple of AAA games from recent time that remind you that, because there was a point in time where AAA was, you know, top of their shit. And I mean, I miss that time. But now everything is so multiplayer driven, and don't get me wrong, it's amazing. I love playing with my friends. But I do want to, you know, play games for story. I want some type of emotion. I want to feel. I don't want, oh, let's go fucking capture that flag because the big voice in the sky told me to. And if we don't, we won't win. I want, hey, Joel, I'm gonna die. You saved my life. And, like, that stuff, that's a really bad example, but I want something that just, you know, like, makes you think about the game. Like, you connect with the characters. There's not enough of that nowadays. Like,
with The Last of Us,
with The Last of Us, it did amazing.
It started off, the characters didn't like each other, they didn't understand each other, but, like, as the game progressed, you genuinely loved both the characters. You saw how much they loved each other. You like them. You don't want anything bad to happen to them. And then there was shocking moments within The Last of Us, and you're surprised at, like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? How is this working? What are you doing? What's happening? And now, for me, I haven't played Ori and the Blind Forest. I have watched people play it. I have not played it for myself, but that game is gorgeous. It doesn't have as many, like, it doesn't have as much money as
and another great example,
Last of Us, but that game, I really enjoyed watching it. And then with Child of Light, that game's, I'm not too big on JRPGs besides Pokemon, really, but I enjoyed that a lot too. It was really interesting.
Yeah, and another great example of an indie game, we talked about this game earlier, is the Pigeon Dating Simulator that I do not know the name of.
Hatoful Boyfriend.
It's an immersive story. It's an immersive story.
You have not played it at all.
I've not played it at all, but I hear
you don't want to play
that
it.
will teach you about life and love.
I mean, you're not wrong on one of those things, but
I don't want to be right.
You shouldn't want to be right. I've seen people play it,
but look, you can't get mad that that game was made. It wasn't.
Oh no, I can't.
It wasn't a AAA game. It wasn't made to be taken seriously. It wasn't in there for you to like want to know what happens next, what the story is, how good the gameplay is. It's made for laughs.
For stupidity.
It's not meant to be taken seriously.
Which I feel a lot of games are doing nowadays, and it's okay. But then again, there are a bunch of games too that I don't know the exact name of this one game, but I wanted to play it ever since I saw it come out a couple of years back. I want to say at least 3 years. It's on Steam, and I don't remember the exact name, but I want to say it was like a story from my uncle or something. It's a really great story game, but it involves these aspects that were on one of my all-time favorite games, which is Portal. And they have this like grappling hook thing, and you can like drop for long distances and have the whole grab boot situation or whatever. And it's like the whole story behind the game is this girl's uncle is like this adventurer, and he tells her a whole bunch of stories, and then he goes missing. And so I don't remember exactly. I don't think he goes missing, but like they have this whole story aspect to it that was really touching, and how it was all told, and the way that it was told.
About Bill's connection to her
uncle.
Like
you don't even I don't think you ever really even see the girl, but you still feel like you're a part of this whole story that's going down. I really want to play it. It really looks interesting. I just haven't had the time to, or my computer, because it's been broken, sadly.
Another indie game that's a bit more on the comical side, but it is really well put together, would be Jazz Punk. I don't know if any of you have heard of it.
Yeah.
But it is a really, like, I don't know how to describe it. Its style, though, is just so nice and, like, good looking. It looks so good.
I know this is a little off subject, but I don't think that AAA games should really do comical in the sense of like what they do, because
they're trying.
Nobody really wants to go and spend $60 for a few good laughs and then like little to none replay value. I mean,
can see your standpoint.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
What game would you be talking about, though?
Well, I mean, for me at least, I went and just recently played Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah?
Great game, had a lot of fun, but a lot of the game was just breaking the fourth wall. There was no story whatsoever. I mean, the basis behind it was stop the whole zombie invasion because of an energy drink that people wanted to rush out.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just, it wasn't put together well, and the sense of story, which it wasn't meant to be. And to be honest, I don't think it's worth $60, and I'm pretty sure it's not still $60. I wouldn't know.
Oh, I doubt it is.
That looks more like a gameplay kind of game. It is more focused on the good gameplay
overall,
it has, how it's played, not necessarily like the story. Because some games can get all of them down correctly, and then some games will focus on one subject more than the other. Call of Duty, for example, I'm not gonna say the stories are awful, but
Oof.
they're definitely not great.
They're not terrible either.
Yeah.
They used to be good.
The gameplay, Call of Duty has gun, just not like gunplay, down really well.
True. But
The
then there's still
you
some
made
stuff
there's
about Call of Duty.
there's it is made pretty quickly. Sure, like it was previously like 2 year cycles for the game and now 3 year cycles, but you gotta think most games are made in 3 years, 3 to 5 years normally, and so
Yeah, depending.
they haven't been able to get it together completely. Well, Call of Duty still has a decent following. Some of the multiplayer changes they have will drastically change how the game plays for if you play multiplayer a lot. But
Yeah.
if you just go into the campaign and just look at the overall gameplay, don't look at the story, don't look at the I guess multiplayer at all, just look at how the gunplay is, it's well done in that aspect.
Mhm. I see what you mean.
But
Yeah.
me playing every Call of Duty ever, every year it comes out, get it on the first day, play multiplayer nonstop, I do think they should stop. I don't think there should be another Call of Duty. I think maybe the studios can separate and make their own games, take their time.
Well, considering the market for that particular genre of gaming, I doubt that it will ever end.
It won't
ever.
I don't think it'll end, but I certainly think that there should be more time taken in between games, or instead of it being focused on making more money, making millions and millions and millions of dollars a year, just looking at how can I make the campaign better, how can I make the multiplayer better, how can I make zombies better,
Yeah.
and then taking their time. Red Dead Redemption took, what, 5 years to make?
And it was one of the best games.
GTA 5, all the, big AAA games that are critically acclaimed. The ones that are critically acclaimed take
the ones that people took time on
forever to make, and they don't focus on just one aspect of.
I feel Destiny was really screwed out of what they were trying to do because of the whole situation that they got put in right before the game dropped. Destiny it was gonna be a great game, but then they had to go and change everything after their whole story developed. The lead writer for the story went and left and trademarked. She had all rights to her story, and then she took it with her a couple of months before the game dropped, and had to go and put together really shitty stories.
And that's gotta be rough.
Yeah, I feel like Bungie should have pushed it back. If they would have pushed it back, they would have been fine, but they were so close to the release, and they were so close. They had the alpha and the beta out, and the release was just so close that they said, screw it, we'll just throw in what we can. We're going to work overtime. We're going to put in this little half-ass story with the characters that we already have and the gameplay that we have already, and we'll just change up what they say. We'll change the words up a little bit and just kind of, whatever. But they also promised a lot more than they did.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about a whole scale, galaxy, not 3 planets in the, not 3 planets in the moon. There was so much more that they said that they were going to give that they didn't, and I feel like them taking so much time on that game, they should have been able to do that. They spent 10 years on a game that most people could have done within 3. I mean, it wasn't something that should have taken 10 years to make. We could have had that on Xbox 360 with the way that the game is now. It wasn't.
Isn't it
It
on the
wasn't the
360
quality.
though?
Yeah, it
on the
is. But I mean, it could have been out a lot sooner than what it was, you know, or when it eventually came out. That's what I'm trying to get at. It wasn't something that needed all that time.
And then I guess the way to put this, like, put this back towards indie games is, with indie games, you don't see a lot of stuff like that happening, where, like, the person's not getting paid enough so they quit and take stuff with them, or the game comes out too much and it gets stale or not as pleasing as it used to be, or just they don't look for as much money as everybody else does.
Yeah, I get you there.
I think, like, as Zach said earlier, indie games will maybe not take over, but they'll definitely grow and scale, like, higher than other games, and more people will play them. There will be people that don't ever play AAA games and only play indie games because
one thing I don't want to see is like
you're
when
getting with indie games mainly.
like I'd rather not see like a giant upsurge of indie games that are just kind of like thrown together like on the spot like within a year. Like I'd rather see like a select few of indie games every year that come out that are like really like quality over or quantity over quality.
Exactly.
Is basically what I'm. Or quality.
Yeah, there you go.
You got it.
I got my words mixed up.
Yeah, but I think they understand. But yeah, I get what you're saying, though. I would rather have, you know, good quality indie games over, you know, games that come out within, you know, a week of production from something else. And it's like they have the ability to do something great with the time that they have. Indie games don't even have to publicize anything, which I love, because if nobody knows about the game at all, people get to go into it completely blind and experience it from, you know, nothing. I love going into a game without knowing anything about it. I go into a game and know, you know, at least what the game is. I know that the game is called whatever the game is called, and what type of game it is. Is it a shooter or whatever? And that's it. You don't know what the story is going to be. You don't know what the gameplay is going to be like. You don't know if it's going to be good or bad. But that type of, you know, leap that you take whenever you go through and play a game like that is.
It's like a leap of faith.
You can't do that with AAA games.
Yeah, because they have to publicize everything.
It's heavily advertised. I mean, sure, advertising is good. That's how you will get your game known. I think some indie games should be able to like advertise. You don't see.
No Man's Sky is doing it pretty well.
You don't see indie games like on TV. Or like Halo and Call of Duty, you see them before movies. Like it'll pop up as a trailer, or
Last of Us did that. Oh my God.
But it's definitely like with indie games, if you want to go in blind, you can. It won't make you insanely poor. I mean, $15, some of them $20. You go in, you can like buy the game, not know anything about it, but it's only $15. Sure, $15 may be a lot for some. I don't have $15 at the moment, of course, but I mean, it's definitely like it's easier to go in blind to an indie game rather than a AAA game. If I want to go in blind on a indie game, I can go in blind 4 times compared to one indie game. And if you want to, let's say, just go in blind for every game you play the entire year, how many times could you do that with an indie game rather than a AAA game? Because it's $60. It's $60. It's advertised, so like, it's gone. You can't go into it not knowing what's gonna happen.
It's weird. I mean, you can do so much with that, but then you can also do so little, and it's like,
The choice is essentially yours. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different things that you can do with indie games, and
You can basically do whatever you want. You don't have a publisher breathing down your neck telling you, oh, let's change this, let's do this instead.
you don't have deadlines, you don't have, like, goals. Like, you do have goals, but you don't have it preset for you, essentially.
yeah, that's what I liked about indie games the most. A lot of indie games just kind of let you be yourself and go into however you want to go into it.
There's more passion behind indie games, and passion coming out of indie games. I enjoy most, no, I'm not gonna say most indie games, but a lot of indie games. Like, I could go into it not knowing anything and come out just captivated and passionate about it. And
Loved about Life is Strange. I went and I didn't even buy the game. I went and played the demo first. Got through like the little hour-long demo that I went through, read through all of the characters' backstories, and then played the game. Whenever I went through the first episode and I got to the part where I didn't know anything about this game. Keep in mind, I just kind of saw it and was like, oh, cool, a demo, let me download this. I was really bored that day. Just kind of downloaded it, and then I started playing it, and I was like, what is this game? She, like, went and she was rewinding time, and then the whole day took place over again from where the game started, and I was super confused and, like, really, really happy. Like, I didn't understand it, but I was having a lot of fun, and I didn't know what this game was going to be until I started playing it. And now I'm waiting for the final 2 episodes so I can finish playing it.
Now, me personally, I don't like episodic games. I really don't like much TV either. I don't like having to wait to get my content. Life is Strange. I think I'm right on this. It was made by Square Enix.
Yes.
So it's a AAA game.
Not necessarily.
I know not necessarily, but I'm pretty sure it was made by a large, maybe not a too big amount of, like a team too big, but I'm pretty sure technically isn't it a AAA game?
Well, I mean, wasn't.
Did Square Enix publish it, or did they develop it?
They developed it on the Unreal Engine. So they published and developed it. I enjoyed the game. It's great, and I think it's an indie game. I feel like it's an indie game.
I'm going to get the game. I will spend, I guess, $20 on how much it is, and I'll play it.
Yeah.
I will play it. I will play it all the way through, maybe more than once, when all the episodes come out, just because I don't like episodic games, really. I don't like having to wait for content.
I mean, I see where you're coming from.
It is intriguing, and it's definitely interesting, and I guess technically it could be an indie game in the sense that Journey is also an indie game. That it is made
yeah.
it is made by a AAA developer, but like a small team, and it's just someone doing what they want to do rather than like what they're told to do.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Sony... No, I don't think Sony has... I want to say there was some type of... I haven't played the game in forever, but I want to say that there was some type of publisher with Sony Santa Monica. But I'm probably wrong.
With Journey?
With The Last of Us. Not The Last of Us. Life is Strange.
Well,
I don't remember exactly. I'd have to
I don't
look it
think
up.
so, because it's on Xbox One as well, so it wouldn't be.
Oh. Well
Sony.
then, yeah, no, never mind. I know there was something else. It wasn't just Square Enix though. There was something else on there that I don't remember. I'd have to look it up and get back to it. But yeah, it was.
The developer is Don't Nod Entertainment. It is published by Square Enix. I think it is I'm gonna classify it as an indie game because I have not heard of Don't Nod Entertainment. And I mean, Square Enix is a publisher, but they're not the developer. And I'm pretty sure it's a small team. It does look interesting.
Yeah.
And then I guess to wrap up the whole indie game topic, I want to say that I think indie games should be given a chance. Like, with our friend RJ, he doesn't like indie games I'm not going to say he doesn't like them. He just hasn't played them. He doesn't really want to play them because, well, I haven't like asked him about it, but I'm pretty sure it's that on the Xbox Live Arcade, most of those games on there were indie games, but the indie game like section of it was a bunch of $1 games that weren't well made. And
like
that might have,
for example.
That might have thrown him off from the whole indie game thing, and now
like
he doesn't know if he will like indie games, and so he just doesn't give them a chance. And I mean, there's probably more people out there that don't want to play an indie game.
Yeah, like there will always be the good ones and the bad ones.
Yeah, there is gonna be good indie games and there will be bad indie games.
Which is just, I mean, that's expected with everything.
Like there is with good AAA games, bad AAA games.
Call of Duty Ghosts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not a solid game. Not their best work.
Is it ever gonna be their best work though?
They can't, I don't feel like they can mess it up that bad again.
I don't think it was that bad. I really don't know why people don't like it.
I
enjoyed the game a lot.
I enjoy most Call of Duties.
I think my problem is I look at it from a campaign standpoint because the campaign was just awful. For a game about stealth-based soldiers, like guerrilla fighting,
they could have named it something else.
Yeah.
Because it's called Call of Duty Ghosts, but there is not a lot of stealth in it.
And the whole story is based on like a group of like sacred stealth-based guerrilla soldiers, essentially. And half the time they are out in the open blowing stuff up.
Not so good at stealthy.
Yeah, do I know how to stealth? I don't know how to stealth, essentially.
And I guess, yeah, now with, but like, yeah, that's an example of, I guess, a bad AAA game. Some I I don't see a lot of indie games. Like, I'm not big on reviews. I will get a game regardless of what the review score is. If the score
Oh
is a
yeah,
1,
same.
I will still get it if I think I will enjoy it or if I want to play it. But I see less indie games getting low scores like that.
Mhm.
I see most indie games getting decent scores. It's like some places might not even review the game because it's an indie game, but I see indie games getting, on average, better scores than some AAA games.
Indie games don't get
Yeah.
Metacritic, do they?
I think some of them do. I'm pretty sure Rocket League will have a Metacritic score. I haven't looked at it,
Oh, I'm sure.
but I think I'm gonna have to say that a with a Rocket League is a good indie game, and I think it is shown how well indie games can be. Last week on Twitch, it beat League of Legends. There was more people watching Rocket League than there was League of Legends, and League of Legends is the biggest game in the world.
Yeah.
It is.
To stream,
I'm
like,
it. It's hands down the biggest game in the world. Sure, some people don't know what it is, or have never played it or watched it or whatever. But
it's
on
still relatively known among
on
everyone.
they have, if you look at their esports scene, they have crowded stadiums, and it's not just like a venue like, I guess, Call of Duty's esports. I watch Call of Duty's esports, but with League of Legends, it's arenas and stadiums that are surrounded with people. Same thing with like Dota. And Rocket League on Twitch beat the biggest game in the world.
And that says something.
It really does. And so I think because of that, indie games now may be given a bigger chance than they previously were.
I really hope so.
And I want developers to not be afraid of making indie games. Instead of, like, me personally, I don't want to, I mean, I will work for a big company to develop games if that's what it takes, but I don't want, like, people in those companies or about to go into those companies being scared. Like, if someone wants to quit their job to make a game, I don't want them to be scared. I want them to be financially secure and not have to, like, sacrifice an arm and a leg to do it.
You want them to feel comfortable branching out and making
I don't want
something
them
of their
to
own.
be scared. I want indie games to be more widely known than they are already.
Prosperous.
And see, that's what I love the whole YouTube community for, is because if you take the big names like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, you have PewDiePie, I mean, those guys, they normally play a lot of indie games. They put a lot of publicity out there for indie games. Which, I mean, it makes me happy because a whole bunch of people watch them. Everybody knows who everybody who's ever been on YouTube knows who PewDiePie is.
Personally, I don't watch AAA. No, I'm not gonna say AAA. As many large YouTubers as other people do. I've watched Markiplier. I don't, like, religiously watch him as I do, like, other YouTubers.
Yeah.
PewDiePie,
But, I mean,
don't watch his videos. Jacksepticeye, I don't watch his videos either. But the fact that they do play indie games is remarkable, really. That with PewDiePie,
they mainly play indie games too. Like, that's normally what they play.
32 million subscribers, the most in the whole world. He gets, I guess, those games that he plays more well known. More people will give him a chance because of him.
I mean, Markiplier is about to hit 10 million.
Yeah.
He's getting up there too. I mean, I don't watch these guys like you said, but a lot of people do, and that's what puts the publicity out there. Is a lot of people will put their time and effort into watching these videos every day. And Markiplier, I know for a fact, plays a crap ton of Five Nights at Freddy's. Granted, not a game that I would recommend to anybody, but a lot of people, it has a big fan base, and it's an
not
indie
my
game.
type of game.
And
I
yeah,
personally
I love the
don't
lore.
play it that much, but like if
But I
that's
mean, a
your
lot of
type of
people
game,
do.
if that's your type of game, I'm not gonna hate somebody because they dislike a game or they like a game a
Like,
lot. I may not like the
Yeah.
game. I may like the I may I blah 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 blah. I may like the game, I
Blah,
may
blah,
not.
blah, 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 blah.
But the fact that it's an indie game is remarkable. That Five Nights at Freddy's, sure, the game is in development for maybe 6 months, but
Each game comes out within like 3 months of each other.
it's a widely known game.
And widely accepted.
It's widely accepted. It has the fan base of AAA games. My 7-year-old brother knows what Five Nights at Freddy is. He doesn't know what League of Legends is. And I guess that's saying something.
I mean, there are a lot of people that watch YouTube for the person and not for the videos. But if they go and watch the person, like, they'll find out about an indie game or two that they didn't even know existed, because that's literally their whole job, is to go and play games. They go and play games for other people, and most of those games just happen to be on a computer or indie games. And on the PC is like the whole place where indie games were born. You have, like, you find the biggest selection of indie games on PC, and that's, I mean, that's saying something too, because
Personal, I think they should be like on the PS4 has been doing like PlayStation in general has been doing really well on indie games and like putting them on the consoles and stuff like that. But indie games came from PC, and I guess with YouTubers who probably play them on PC and maybe even other consoles or whatever, that can get indie games more well known. You look at Minecraft.
Most definitely, dude.
You look at Minecraft, that game wasn't made on a large budget, but it was basically born from YouTube. The person, what's his name?
Notch.
Notch made that, and then from YouTube, like, the whole Minecraft, like, if the game itself wasn't made from there, the community was, and it's one of the biggest games as well, and it is an indie game. It's not as indie focused now, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure the team at Mojang has a lot of people working for them now, but it started as an indie game. Yeah, they bought Mojang for $1 billion. And Notch has one of the most expensive houses in all of California.
Off of an indie game.
Off of an indie game.
Some hit, some don't. I mean, it's just how it works.
I just took the biggest beating on The Last of Us at the moment.
Dang.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it really just comes down to it. At the end of the day, it's just like how much time and effort you're really willing to put into a game, and how much. I mean, it also depends on the people who play your game.
The documentary indie game that focuses on Braid and Fez, and I think one other game, if I'm not...
Braid, Fez, and there was another, I don't remember what it was called.
Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that movie is remarkable. You look at it and you realize how much time these people had to, like, spend and what they had to do to make the game that they love. And Super Meat Boy, Fez, and Super Meat Boy and Fez are probably some of the more widely known indie games. Braid I didn't know of until that game came out. Not the game, the movie came out until I watched it, but it certainly, it's one of the better ones. I enjoyed playing it.
I still... Braid is the one where you can control time. It was like Prince of Persia before Prince of Persia was a thing.
I know. Yeah, I know what you're
It's
talking
the
about.
time. It's kind of like...
Soldier Boy played it.
Yeah, he did.
Oh my god.
He really did. It was in the movie. It was hilarious. He went and like called up one of his homeboys. He was like, "Hey, you gotta play this game, dude."
Homeboy, like,
That's what he called it.
Look at this game, dog. This game's called Braid. Control time or some shit like that. Basically, those were his exact words.
Yeah, basically.
But you gotta think, at the time when that game came out, he was a widely known rapper. And that game was made by one person and got... it would have had a perfect rating if it wouldn't have been an indie game. That's the only reason. Meanwhile, I think... Oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say.
But yeah, no, Braid was a game that would have gotten a perfect rating on Xbox's arcade store. Wouldn't have not been an indie game.
Yeah.
Which is really sad because it really deserved all 5 stars.
And the person behind Braid, Jonathan Blow, he's currently making The Witness.
Oh, that's who is making that game?
That game needs to come out soon. It's been delayed a couple times, but it looks remarkable. It looks really well done. And that's
all you can hope for.
That's just what I've seen from E3 2 years ago. I haven't seen anything of it since. Supposedly it comes out this year. Who knows?
But that's always changing.
But it looks really good. It looks really interesting. I guess we're done with the indie game topic. And for, I guess, our final topic, if I think of another one, I might add it later. But virtual reality.
I'm not super adept.
Cough, cough, Project Morpheus, cough, cough.
Personally, like, there is a lot of people that don't see, like, that don't know about virtual reality, and I don't know how far virtual reality will go. I don't think it'll blow up.
I honestly don't think it'll prosper. Like,
it
grow
won't
as much as
it won't. Yeah, it won't grow as much as like some people hope for. I am totally down for virtual reality. I
want it to be a thing. That would be really cool. I want Sword Art Online to be a thing. That would be amazing.
I don't want to die. I mean, well,
you know, not
I don't want to die, but if it's fully immersive. Oh my gosh.
What are we gonna do now?
Okay, and Sword Art Online, for everybody that hasn't watched it, it's fully immersive virtual reality, and they are stuck inside their helmets. They aren't able to leave. And if you die in the game, you die in real life. It's as simple as
Yeah.
that. I really didn't spoil anything.
That's how the show was told. That's how it was. It's
how
in
the
first
show
episode.
is.
Yeah.
And so with that, I think if you could get for like fully immersive virtual reality, that'd be great. I don't think that
Where it's at right now, I don't think it's anywhere near that.
I don't think
level.
it'll take off.
It'll take it about 10-15 years, but I think it'll get there. I want to be hopeful about it.
I think it will get somewhere eventually. I really do.
I really think that would be really like a big next step in gaming.
I don't think it's going to like be in everybody's household. And
no, I doubt it. But
it won't be there for years, for a really long time.
Yeah,
but
examples of how it's grown already. I know this isn't really gaming related, but quarterbacks in the NFL have started to use it to do training simulations of different scenarios in a game. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
like how that's been implemented.
With virtual reality, like I don't think Project Morpheus is gonna do as well as the Oculus and HoloLens. I think Oculus is gonna probably do the best out of the three I know of because it's the most advertised. I will probably get all three if I have the money to get all three: the Project Morpheus, the Oculus, and the HoloLens. The HoloLens looks really interesting. That's more, I guess, augmented reality rather than virtual reality, because it's not trying to immerse you in a game or a scenario, rather than like show something up as a hologram rather than something else. But that can be really cool, and I think that can go places. With Project Morpheus, that's the one I'm the most excited for because I play on PlayStation more often, and I'm not too disappointed with what PlayStation does most of the time.
I mean, if you've seen anything on Project Morpheus, it does look really cool.
It looks really interesting, and I think, like, of course, with like how the PS4 and Xbox One, it took a while for the games to become spectacular.
Hold on, everybody.
Like, the launch titles were alright. I mean, they weren't like the best. So I don't think Project Morpheus's launch titles will be great. I don't think they will be amazing. I think Project Morpheus will be something you show your friends, and it's kind of like a party thing, or you just want to like see something cool. That's what it'll be for. And then 3 years after the game, after it comes out, when people have gotten to understand the hardware and how it works, that's when it'll take off, and that's when the games will be spectacular and really good.
Yeah.
I don't think like virtual reality will take too much to fully immerse me in it, because I can play a game and already feel like I am in the game by just holding a controller and looking at my TV.
Yeah, because when I'm focused on the game, I don't really see or notice anything else around me.
I'm not thinking about what happens outside of the game. If I have a bad day and I'm playing a game, I don't really remember it. Sure, if like I'm talking to somebody, like if I'm playing like a multiplayer game, I'll probably remember it because I'm not as fully immersed in it.
Yeah,
But like with Uncharted or The Last of Us, like if I had a bad day and I played that, I forgot about it. I got lost in it. When I was 7 or 8, maybe 7, 8, or 9, when I still played on my GameCube every day, and I would go home and I would play Mario Kart or Super Smash Brothers or Naruto
Yeah.
Clash of the Ninja 2.
You
Those,
guys are so big on Naruto.
oh yeah, those were like, they did what The Last of Us and Uncharted does now. So
Yeah.
I think for virtuality, for me, I think when I first put on the headset, it'll take me maybe like 3 minutes to adjust to it, and then I will already be fully immersed.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from, man. But
Now,
yeah.
like, are either of you like more focused, like want one virtual reality headset more than the other? Do you like want
I mean,
one at all?
I haven't really, like, I don't really plan on ever getting a virtual reality headset unless it like advances like really far in, because like some of the stuff I've seen, like some of it has looked pretty solid for where we're at today, but then I still feel like they could, like, I still feel like it's missing something that can make it like way better in a sense. Like, I'm not sure what it is, but as soon as like everyone will know as soon as it's added.
Oh man, Derek, I can't wait. I'm gonna get an Oculus Rift soon, but
The consumer
don't know
version's not
exactly
even
when.
out yet, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, but whenever it
You'd have
comes
to
out,
buy a
I'm
dev
gonna get.
kit.
Oh, yeah, that's probably what I was gonna. I need to figure out how to get all that. I want to set it up. We're gonna get Derek to play a very, very scary game on it,
Ugh.
because that's what Derek's good at. Derek's good at playing scary games.
For those of you on the stream, I hate scary games. That's why they like making me play stuff. Like Until Dawn, for example. That will be... Zach's going to buy that, but I'm going to play it. Like,
Spooky's
that's...
House of whatever.
Spooky's House of Terrors.
Bailed out on the 50th floor.
It is the least scary game ever.
I laughed my ass off watching you play that game, though.
And
dude.
he was.
But then that night that your girlfriend was over, Zach, we got to like what floor? We got pretty far.
200.
We got to floor 500.
500.
That's... As compared to 50, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Normally that's what that means.
I think I am one to not scare easily.
But the Batman game, though.
I would like to be scared.
Dude, I feel like if you had the Oculus and played any type of scary game on it, you would be scared out of your mind. Because everything is right in your face, and it makes you feel like, you know, you're right there.
It's definitely
Aliens
possible.
Isolation was modded to work on the Rift.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That would
Was
be
that a horror
terrifying.
game?
Alien Isolation, yeah.
It's considered.
Really?
I thought it was pretty scary.
I feel like it might be a bit more suspenseful than scary.
It didn't.
Nah, dude.
I didn't even play it much. I played like the first couple of missions. Cause like nothing was happening really.
Nah, nothing really happens until after you get past the first couple of missions. You have to get into the game before stuff actually really starts happening, and that's how a lot of scary games are supposed to be, or at least go.
With Outlast, I have played the game several times. I have I've
Not
been with
scared of it.
you when you beat the game. It just didn't hit me like that, and so I would like to play a decent horror game, one that scares me.
Yeah, I think that with Oculus, the horror genre is definitely more equipped. If you have, I know there's this one game that Markiplier played. You couldn't move your hands. You had to keep your hands on the keyboard. You had to hold down these two buttons the whole time while a whole bunch of just stuff started crawling over you, and you just had to let it sit there. And all the noises that it made. You had a good pair of headphones. That game was terrifying. It was just like all right there in your face, and you couldn't do anything about it. So, I mean, there are some game aspects that make you feel like, you know, yeah, like this would be absolutely terrifying in the situation that it was in, but you have other games that are completely the opposite of that.
I
And
thought this was on invite only.
Just trying to say.
I'm trying to say
It
that
is
I
on
thought
invite
it was
only.
invite only.
But yeah, so that's that's how I feel about that though. It's just like it really was. Like there are a bunch of different things, and I want you to try it if I eventually ever get an Oculus Rift or a dev kit or something. That would be really cool. We can
I'll
get
probably get
eventually.
one as well.
Yeah, and I'd really like you to try some type of scary game, something that you would find that like interests you in some way, and try it with the Oculus, because they tend to be a lot more in your face about stuff with the Oculus, and that I feel like gives a whole different aspect of your fear in something. So, I mean, it's just how I feel about it. I feel like a game would be more scary to you if you had something 3 inches from your face,
And
instead of, you know, a TV that sits about a foot or two away from you.
in real life,
PC though.
I get scared. I mean,
Yeah.
if you hide in the closet and jump out of nowhere, yeah, I'll probably get scared. Movies don't
And
scare
kick
me.
somebody in the dick, Derek.
Yeah, that'll.
Yep. Had a bad
That was
experience.
hilarious.
I got you guys good though.
Oh, dude, I
What do you guys
pushed
do?
Christian into the room.
Well,
It was
I
What
mean,
did RJ do? Did he just
I
like scream and
freaked out, and then I freaked out even harder because first something came at me from the front, and then I was pushed from the back. And so I'm not just gonna sit there and take it, and so I like immediately just kicked in front of me, and your testicles happened to be right in the pathway of my foot.
Good
Yeah,
times,
dude.
man.
It was a great time. We played hide and go seek in the dark in unfinished houses.
We gotta go do that again.
We should.
It was great.
Hit up RJ and be like, hey.
He said he didn't think any of the houses over there were still unfinished. So we'd have to find a new place to do it.
When the houses in that neighborhood being built by your
Next to
neighborhood
Wallace.
or whatever when there's more houses that are finished, we could probably go over there while some of them are still being built. Because we can't just go when they're all unfinished and then like someone will like totally know where we're at.
Because that runs the risk of people still being there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But back to gaming,
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Oculus Rift has a very good variety of horror games, and they have that chance of bringing it to you in a different aspect that nobody else, that like no other game can really give it to you in. Outlast was scary, and to an extent. The only part, I mean, it got to the point where everything was really predictable, for me at least. I could, you know, it wasn't, it's kind of just the same thing over and over again. It wasn't the fear of, you know, running into something. It was the fear of the guy that's chasing you down, and you have to hide from him, but you had to hide from somebody almost every time you got into a situation. So it was really just, how fast can I juke this guy out to get to the other side so I don't have to freaking see his face again? Was the whole thing.
That's like any scary game though, isn't it? Like that's kind of the point, that you can't fight back, so you hide.
Yeah, in that aspect, I mean, yeah, it definitely is, and
But
just so you guys
since it
know,
was
Greg,
predictable,
he's here now.
since
Greg, say
it
hi.
was predictable, it was more. It wasn't as scary. If you didn't know what was gonna happen next, then that's when it's.
And that's
scary.
why at the very beginning of the game, whenever I did start playing it, and then the guy, I already knew this was gonna happen because I had seen the gameplay for it before, and if nobody's played it before, then you're really far behind. At least haven't watched it. One of the very first jump scares that you get in the game is walking into a library, and you walk into this library, this dead body that's been hanging there just kind of like swings into the door right at your face. And I swear to God, I've never heard
me in that game.
Yeah, I've never heard Derek scream louder in my entire life. It was hilarious.
And for the rest of the game, I was the most mellow person.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like some things scare people more than other things. I know one of the only things that I ever jumped at in Call of Duty ever is a stupid jump scare on the Mob of the Dead map on Alcatraz and Zombies. Whenever you would like zoom in, there was this Easter egg that you could do where you zoom in and you look.
Oh yeah, that's scary.
Through the rifle scope at the fireworks. Yeah, you look over at the fireworks.
That just happened. I just wanted to look at pretty stuff.
Yeah, you look at the fireworks through the scope of your sniper rifle, and this picture of a girl that's all zombified, and she jumps up and screeches right in your scope, and you just freak the shit out, dude. It's really bad.
I was just trying to look at pretty stuff. I wasn't even trying to find that Easter egg.
Right?
That was
just unlucky, Derek.
Somewhat scared when I played PT. I'm not gonna say like it was scary, but I
wanted
jumped
to go home.
once, maybe.
that game was great.
But
The game was terrifying.
the game I jumped, the series I've jumped at the most actually is Batman.
What?
And Arkham Asylum, it's either Asylum or City. You are like in the insane asylum part of it, and you're
That's
just
Arkham Asylum.
well, no, but anyway, you're going through and it's like really dark, and there's like there's vents everywhere, and so you're just walking down the hallway going to where you're supposed I think you're about to see Harley Quinn, and then it's just one of the patients jumps from the top.
Oh,
And
that
then-
would be Asylum, yeah.
And then that scared me a lot. I don't know if I get scared now.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought Arkham Asylum was a horror game when it came out. Don't know why.
When I first played it, I got scared, and then in Arkham Knight, when one of the parts when like you're getting attacked by the fear toxin and you turn around and there's a gun in your face, I jumped then.
Yeah.
A lot of people jumped
really-
when Man-Bat came out of nowhere.
That was confusing. I was scared.
I didn't
I didn't
jump
get scared.
when that happened, but
I didn't get scared when the Man-Bat jumped out at me. I got scared when it did it again, but it was He Who Shall Not Be Named.
yeah, and then later when you're like towards the end of the game and you're just turning around and a random statue pops up out of nowhere.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That freaked
And then
me
a
out.
bunch of random statues just start popping up out of nowhere.
That
It was like I
that-
was playing freaking.
I didn't
it was like I was playing
understand what
Craven Manor.
was supposed to happen.
Dude, right?
Yeah.
It
But
was like the Weeping
And then you
Angels.
turn around after a while, and then one of the statues is real.
Yeah. It was great. It's a really well done part of the game, but
That was
it
kind
was
of
terrifying.
I found it sad because we finally saw the fear.
Yeah.
But
But
like I thought it suited him.
yeah. It definitely was interesting. I did not like it.
You didn't not like it.
Double negatives.
So you did like it.
Yeah.
Or you
I liked
didn't
it, guys. It was a
dislike
great
it,
part of the game.
but-
It was good. It was fantastic. It was flawlessly done. What do you want me to say?
Oh yeah, I thought the ending of the game was flawless. Like
was great.
the very last level, that was like the perfect way to end it. It left you questioning your existence,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was well done.
That is very true.
I'm kind of saddened to see that it won't be coming back for a while.
I really want to see what they're going to do next.
I mean, it will not be for a very.
I
It'll be a
think
very.
There is
while
a there will either be a Superman game or a Justice League game.
I would rather see a Justice League game because I am not the biggest
Anything
fan
that's
of
not a Justice League
Superman
fighter game
when he
would
is
be cool.
alone.
I think it'd be really cool to see a Justice League game in the aspect of people to pick I would want to see something to where they have the Justice League, right? And this is a crazy idea, but it'd be really freaking cool. Have to be a really big game. But you have like the Justice League, and you have like the main guys. So, I mean, correct me if a little bit, because I know I'm not going to get all of them right, but I know Martian Manhunter's there, Superman, Batman, Green Lantern,
Wonder
You
Woman.
have Wonder Woman, the Green Arrow. I mean, you have like those guys, those
Flash,
main guys.
It depends.
Flash.
It depends how far into like the creation of the Justice League, though. Because,
Yeah, because the
Batman wasn't always a part of it,
Yeah,
and he ends up leaving anyway.
that's true.
Green
Well, that would
Arrow
be cool to see.
Green Arrow didn't want to be a part of it because he wanted to focus mainly on like people like
Star
cities.
City.
Yeah, and like the people that couldn't protect themselves there rather than like bigger issues.
I really would love to see a Green Arrow game though, like a really well done Green Arrow game.
Yeah.
Would be super cool.
In Batman, there's multiple like references. There's a reference
To the Green Arrow. and
There's a reference to Superman. Like some of the
There's a
thugs will
reference to
say.
Flash.
Some of the people say, like the thugs say, that like we have a Batman. At least we don't have like that stupid guy in the red cape. And then there's a LexCorp building. There's
Queen Industries.
There's Queen Industries, and then
While you're in Wayne Tower, if you listen to the voicemail, there's actually Lex Luthor is actually trying to get a hold of your science division.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
thought that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with the way the game ended, they could definitely do a Justice League game.
I'd enjoy it. I mean, I'd like to have a Justice League that's complete with all of the characters, but then have like the ability to choose in between which character I want to play as at any given time, or have like a separate story for each character, which would be a little bit different, but
Hey, it's
it could work in an
it's all
aspect.
like it's all the same story, but it's all from like different viewpoints of like.
Oh, dude, yeah, because I would play as Green Arrow all day.
I'd
probably be the biggest.
I'd like it to be where I want the game to be huge. I want there to be multiple like characters that you can play as, where if you want to play as Wonder Woman or the Martian Manhunter, you could. But like if they do have their own stories, you play that, and then there is also one big story with all of them, and so you can use the ones you want.
Like have an yeah. I see what you're saying.
Or like after you beat the game, you unlock these game modes or whatever where like it's their own story, and maybe it's like a couple hours long, and the regular game
think this
itself
would
is
be a
a
really cool idea, but kind of, and in a sense, it'd be like having, I mean, all of their cities would have to be a part of this. Like every place they're from, they'd have to be in that game. And I know they're all within the same universe, so like you'd have like a way to transport between each one, or just have all of it connected in some type of way, which would be completely outstanding if they could find a way to connect every single city.
Well,
together.
in the Justice League Tower, they can like teleport.
Well, I mean, they can warp, yeah, but that, I mean, that's what I mean. That would be cool, because you can go in and like set up with, you know, take Green Arrow for example. You can go in and set up and just kind of go to Gotham or Metropolis or something, just because, and show up there and just kind of like see Superman flying around, and then like him run up, so like he'll fly up to you and you just ask him if he needs any help. Just kind of like a, I don't know, just kind of like out of nowhere, like a side quest sort of thing, and just kind of have him like ride up to you and be like, hey, I could use your help over here. And then you go to Metropolis and help him out with doing some stuff, and then you go back and go to your city and do a mission or two there, and then go help out in Gotham or something. I don't know. It'd be a cool idea, something cool that they could do, but it's like,
it'd be a whole, really?
Yeah, exactly.
If they
I think
could
it'd
do
be
it,
cool.
that'd be great.
I think that the idea of being able to play as whichever Justice League character you want is awesome.
Did you ever play Get Out of Hell?
I never got around to it, but I've seen gameplay for it.
The way you fly in that game, I think, is flawless.
Really?
Yeah. Just how you fly, if that's how Superman can fly, that'll be perfect. Or, I mean, we'll see, you can't, like, fly forever, because technically it's gliding, but if it's, like, controls the same way, that'd be perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I would enjoy that too. I just really don't want another Superman 64 on our hands. Fucking save the world, fly through hoops. Which one are you gonna do first? I mean,
God,
stuff
at least
like
fly
that.
through the hoops to save the world.
Yeah, like that was the whole entire premise behind Superman 64, and that's why that game sucked.
It wasn't well done. I would like more superhero games.
Yeah, they'd be really cool. They're really. I would love to see an Ant-Man game.
Most
that
of them
would be awesome.
Suck. Most superhero games are awful. They're just absolutely terrible. The Batman games
Rocksteady just needs to make them all.
The Batman series is an exception.
Well, before even the Batman Arkham Asylum came out, Batman had a really shitty game series. Like, he hadn't had a game since PlayStation 1.
But, like, Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Ultimate Alliance 2, I enjoyed those. But
yeah, right. But I mean,
most of the Spider-Man games were awful.
Spider-Man 2 will, always be in my heart.
What? I love Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3 I liked a lot.
That game was fun.
Yeah, that game was really fun. I enjoyed Spider-Man 2 a lot more though.
Cause like with Spider-Man 3 though, it had sort of because with every Spider-Man game before that, you could like shoot webs out of nowhere and kind of swing, but it wasn't the same with that one. So it made you feel like Spider-Man. You had combo lists and everything. I don't know.
I'm not gonna say I didn't like the games, but they're definitely not as good or on par with Batman, and they weren't treated.
Oh, no, definitely.
They weren't treated as a game,
like a
really.
AAA, like a big game, yeah.
If they have, like, I enjoyed the Incredible Hulk game because I could stand on buildings and destroy them no matter what.
That's cool to any third grader.
Oh yeah, dude.
On the PS2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just being able to be the Hulk or whoever and run around as like your favorite superhero.
Going back on it, the story was alright.
Super linear.
It was. There's not much side stuff. It wasn't.
That's a lot. That's a lot of superhero games.
The Iron Man games weren't too bad.
I played the crap out of Iron Man 1.
They weren't awful.
Iron Man 1.
But they weren't. I didn't like want to play it non-stop like Batman.
I did. I played the crap out of Iron Man 1. I went and bought that game after I saw the movie. Went up to Target. Went and spent my money on that. I had spent my own money on that. Got it on PlayStation 2.
It's like different.
Crap out of it.
Cause yeah, when those games were out, we were younger. Like Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 was actually a long game. They had a lot of content. They had the whole before the dark suit, and they had after the dark suit, and during the dark suit, and they had the after part of it.
Ultimate Spider-Man on the GameCube, I played non-stop.
There were a lot of Spider-Man games that were actually decent, like Friend or Foe. That game was fun, and it had like almost nothing to do with Spider-Man. I
think they just took those too far.
Yeah,
but
some of them went a little too far. But there was the aspect, the gameplay of it was a lot of fun. Having a couple of friends to go and run around and play as different Spider-Man characters or villains or whatever, it was really cool.
Friend or Foe was kick-ass. The different combinations of superheroes and or villains.
Like going back on it, none of them were like, oh my god, remarkable.
Definitely not.
And
I don't think that's what they were shooting for.
With my standards now, they're probably not as good as they were when I first played them when I was younger.
Definitely not.
The Green Lantern game that came out on the PS3 and the 360.
It was a game?
I didn't even...
It was horrific.
Like the movie?
Yeah, like... The game made the movie look good.
Dang.
Damn.
And I mean, me being the critical comic nerd I am, saying something.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed Spider-Man 2. I played the crap out of Spider-Man 1 when I was really little because Venom was my like all-time favorite of everything when I was little. And my Uncle Matt, whenever I lived with my grandparents, he had a PlayStation 2 and had Spider-Man 1 on it. And I used to go downstairs whenever he wasn't home and I'd play that game non-stop. Now, granted, never got past the first level, but it was a lot of fun because the first level had Venom in it. And all you would do is just try to get to Venom, and he did go back and play through it, and then like he'd go away or whatever, and you'd have to find him later on in the game. But like, the whole thing with Venom was I was like, dude, who is this Spider-Man? He looks so cool! And then I'd run up to him and then die, and I'd been doing that over and over again. But I was a little kid, I didn't care. I was having fun. And that's what I don't know. I loved that game a lot, and I thought the combat in that game was really fun and smooth for the time period of it being, like 2000 and whatever. But it was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed X-Men Origins Wolverine
That game was great.
on the PS3.
I got that for 360. And that was like the first game that I ever had that let me sit there and just decapitate people because I wanted to.
Wolverine.
Grotesque and amazing.
Wolverine is probably up there on my favorite superheroes because he straight up kills people. Like Dave.
Wolverine is just
awesome.
a badass all around.
My favorite, he's not really a superhero, he's more of an anti-hero, is Deadpool.
Deadpool. Deadpool!
Yeah.
I love him. He's so great. His love for tacos and pancakes is my favorite.
Chimichangas, man.
Isn't that like the pancake taco of Mexicans?
I don't know. I've never had a chimichanga before.
Really? You're
Really?
so good! I'm gonna buy you a chimichanga.
Alright.
It's
The
super good.
Deadpool game?
They actually wanted to have that game was released unfinished.
It really was.
They were gonna add on a whole another 4 levels, but they released it unfinished. I don't know why.
I like the gameplay of it, and the whole game, the story itself was a Deadpool story. It wasn't remarkable.
I still want to play it. I haven't had the chance to play it. I'll probably end up just getting it on Steam one day. If it's on Steam, right? I'm pretty sure it's on Steam.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll probably just get it on my computer one day and go through it. But I don't know. It might happen. It might not. I told myself I wasn't gonna buy it while it was still $60. I wanted to wait till it was like about at least $20. Then I never bought it.
I guarantee
some pretty
you,
shit reviews.
It had awful reviews. It was not a highly rated game.
I was really excited for it though.
A lot of people were actually.
You weren't gonna spend $60 on it.
Well, I mean, yeah, because after it came out, I went and watched gameplay for it, and I noticed how I was watching it, and I was like, it looks like a lot of fun, but it doesn't look like something that I'm going to be able to sit there and play constantly. And at the time,
When your favorite streamer is able to sit down in one session and finish it, it kind of just is like, oh.
Well, how long's the session?
It's not worth $60. The streamers I watch, the full-time ones, they'll stream for about 8 hours, 6 hours, but they're not always playing the same game.
Well, I know that. I mean, like, I watch a lot of streamers too, but how long did it take for them to finish the game?
I'm not sure, because I didn't watch it. I wasn't that interested in Deadpool, but the next day I came back and he was like, man, I was kind of disappointed about Deadpool. Fun game, but it didn't last at all.
Because there's plenty of games that I've finished in one session. Granted, the session is
Cough cough, Sunset Overdrive, cough
12
cough.
hours or so,
Jeez.
but anywhere
I sat down, played that game
anywhere
from
for 12 hours to like
I played that game.
The longest
for like
time I spent like in one session is maybe 24 hours.
I spent an entirety of 24 hours playing Kingdom Hearts 2 when I was little. That was the first game I ever played an all night. I stayed up all night playing that game. It was the very first game that I ever did an all nighter on.
I guess I'm back. Sorry about that.
So
it was pretty great.
We started to talk shit about you and say how you are the worst superhero out there.
People that are watching this, just go along with it. Cough, cough.
I don't understand.
Nah, we were just talking about Spider-Man and
Christian has never had a chimichanga.
I haven't.
You're missing out. We gotta take him to
That's what I said.
We gotta take him to Casa Garcia and get him one of those big ones.
What is a chimichanga though?
It's like
a stuffed burrito.
Yeah.
Aren't burritos already stuffed?
But it's like deep fried with like
Yeah, right.
Mexican rice, beans and beef or chicken, whatever you prefer. And then they smother it in...
It's like they took a Freebirds burrito and deep fried it.
And then smothered it in queso.
Yeah. It's like an oversized enchilada. It's just really great.
So when are you